Soon after the visit of Home Minister Amit Shah to the violence-torn state of Manipur, the Ministry of Home Affairs on June 10th, and this is the background, set up a panel to facilitate peace-making process in the state, where ethnic violence broke out on May 3rd. Now, when the committee was constituted, it had leaders from the Indigenous Tribal Front, it had people from Meitei community, it had people from Naga community. But the Indigenous Tribal Leaders Forum has stated that it will boycott the peace committee, which the central government constituted with the aim of restoring normalcy in the state. The ITLF, which is backed by the Kuki community in Manipur, condemned the inclusion of Chief Minister N. Biren Singh in the 51-member peace committee headed by Governor Anusuya Uke. Committee includes 25 Meiteis, 11 Kukis, 10 Naga members, 3 Muslims, 2 Nepali community members on the panel. They are saying that there is an organization which is there in the committee which targeted Kukis. Meanwhile, 300 Meiteis from More have reportedly entered neighboring Myanmar for shelter. People from Myanmar have come to India for shelter. Opposite has happened in Manipur. Meitei community had to take refuge there. More houses a mixed population of more than 30,000 Kukis, Meiteis, Tamils, Punjabis, Muslims, Bengalis and Biharis. Yes, Tamils. I have been to that place. Even Tamils lived there. There are a vibrant community of traders there. And it happened when the Britishers were deploying Tamil infantry in Southeast Asia. These are the latest visuals which we are showing you of the Manipur. Why hasn't peace process lifted? The committee has been formed, but it has run into trouble. Why has that happened, sir?
The scale of violence was quite a lot and took some time for people to really realize the ferocity of the problem in Manipur. But I must also tell the viewers that in the last 3 days, we have had comparatively better life. In fact, the violence is almost reduced a lot. And I'm sure that understanding will reach the people. At the end of the day, the good old saying goes, if we go for the same Hammurabi's dictum of an eye for an eye, the whole world will become blind. So I'm sure that slowly and slowly people will realize that this is not the way a state functions. This is not the way this state should be. Economically, how much we have gone backward in the last, say, 40 days, we have gone back 40 years. That is the scale of economic damage. Who is now going to invest in this state? How are we going to cope up with the rest of the world and the rest of the country? These are thoughts I'm sure will slowly trickle on everyone. And I am quite confident that the peace committee may be modified, maybe will be acceptable to all the people of Manipur. At the end of the day, we cannot keep on fighting till, it goes in Hindi, जब तक सूरज चांद रहेगा हम लड़ते रहेगा, ये तो this cannot be really. So we must, sooner or later the peace will come. I also take this opportunity to clarify that I was not the former chief of the intelligence of the Indian Army. I was the senior most intelligence officer of the Indian Army for about 5 years. And I really hope and pray that the peace returns to this beautiful state quickly. At the end of the day, as I have said, I always say, if the Almighty gave us 10 portions of beauty, the Almighty also gave Manipur 10 portions of sorrowness. We are a heterogeneous society. In various communities, there are sub-community who are also not very happy with the community. These are the unfortunate things of Manipur. But I'm sure we all will get together and overcome this problem with the modernization, with the economic development and others. I'm sure that we all will extend our helping hand in bringing about peace in this state. And it will be sooner or later, the peace will have to come, because we cannot keep on fighting till the world finishes. So I'm sure that better sense will prevail in everyone. When I say everyone, all the warring groups, warring community. And what has happened is that while we talk about the Métis and Kukis, there are many minority tribes. There are minor tribes who are really suffering, who are being dragged in, who are being targeted, who are, who have to survive for themselves. So I really feel bad for them. And I pray to everyone, I request to everyone that please let us extend our heart and try to think about those children who are willing to go to school but they cannot go. Think about those people who are living in these displaced person camps. It's really very sad that in the 21st century, modern India, where we are aiming to become one of the superpower, this is happening in one part of the country. But I'm sure that with the able leadership of the center and cooperation from the people from all the community, sooner or later the peace will return.
Why has the peace committee not made the headway in first 24 hours? How come the boycott has taken place?
Well, I think one of the basic necessities or requirements, I would say ingredients of a peace committee in such a situation of a multi-ethnic conflict is that it needs to have number one, people who command legitimacy and credibility amongst all parties, who command a level of trust amongst all parties, and are not divisive figures, right? So the non-starter was that the Chief Minister of Manipur, who happens to be a very, very divisive figure at the moment, was included in the peace committee. Secondly, as Vijay just stated, it's shocking, absolutely shocking that many of the members are claiming, the Kuki members are claiming that they were not consulted before being put on that committee. These are all very big non-starters, right? It's clear that the committee is failing from the very start. I hope the central government reformulates this committee. And there is also a sense that, the central government is outsourcing this very complex business of peacemaking, completely outsourcing it onto the state. Yes, of course, the representative of the union government here, which is the governor, is heading it. But the bulk of the peace committee is made up of, all of it actually is made up of members or people from Manipur, individuals from Manipur. So there's a sense that the center is sort of abdicating its duty and sort of leaving it all to the state to resolve and fix the issue, and that the center should be taking a greater role. So there is that sense also. So in general, I would say structurally, this peace committee looks to be very faulty. And as someone stated earlier, that this should have come much earlier. I understand that the government's thinking, the central government's thinking would have been that let's first stabilize the law and order situation and then go for a peace and reconciliation committee. However, if you remember,
Angshuman, are we saying that the Biren Singh has become very, very problematic in this context?
Yes, because he is a chief minister, right? And it's not a big. I mean, this is not some kind of a top secret information or anything. It's out in the open, right? The fact that Biren Singh does not command legitimacy, or the Biren Singh does not command popularity and trust. Trust is the key word here. Amongst a particular section, amongst a large section of the population in Manipur, for whatever reasons. But the fact that many of the members are complaining about his presence on that group should worry the central government. And in that context, the central government should rethink the membership of this committee, right? As I said, a peace committee is supposed to be neutral, objective, and comprising of neutral stakeholders at this moment, and particularly in cases of multi-ethnic conflict. So in this case, I would say those kind of structural parameters need to be rethought by the central government. I hope it does that.
Okay, Dr. Malem, the lot of objections are being raised. Before I start opening up the debate one by one, lot of objections are being raised on the issue of Dr. Biren Singh. Your first thoughts on that, and then I'll take the debate to other micro issues.
You see, in a democratic setup, it is the right of the peoples to raise commendations or objections to the head of the state, that is Biren Singh. So, like some peoples are not happy with him, and they have the legitimacy to protest for his inclusion or exclusion. But I think when the peace committee was announced, I was very happy looking into the components of the members of the committee. But then the next day, there are press statements saying that some peoples were not being consulted. So it seems to me that the central government, which have constituted the committees, seems to have adopted a tactics of selecting committee members rather than constituting membership or members based on consultation. It's a good trial. In fact, the center must have learned now that there are objections to the manner that the committee has been constituted. So I think it's now rests with the central government to decide on what future course of the actions that they are or they may likely take up. Are they going to convince some of the members who are protesting it, or are they going to reformulate the entire memberships again? That the ball is now in the court of the central government. But it's a good start, I should say.